What is going on, everybody? It is bush fishing, and if you guys could tell by the title of this video, we got a good one. So if you guys are new here, I'm bush fishing. I make primarily outboard repair, inboard repair, stern drive, stuff like that. But we also have done some boat building projects in the past, and we also do fishing videos. So if that's anything you guys enjoy, make sure to subscribe. But let's get to the exciting stuff. I bought a new boat. So I've been looking at this boat for a long time. I made this guy kind of wait. It needs some work, but let's take a look at it. What you guys are looking at is a Robalo 230. So there's a 23-foot center console. It was always one of my dreams to own a center console, and I finally made it happen. We'll get a walkthrough before we do anything in this, but the boat does need some work, and it's gonna be a fun project that I'm gonna take you guys on. We got surge brakes on the trailer, 2 5/16 ball. This trailer is so heavy duty. I think it's way more heavy duty than it needs to be, but yeah, so we got a broken trailer jack. The guy actually gave me a new one. Super nice guy that I bought it from. Up in the bow, you can see it's got the old rope rub rail on it. I'm thinking I'm gonna leave that for now, but in the future that might get replaced. Got the nice bow rub rail that I think is gonna come off because I will be putting a trolling motor on the front. Coming down the hall, really not in bad condition at all. There's a couple chips and dings, but for the most part, this boat is good and buffed out. This gel will come back completely. That'll be a whole different video, but the main reason the boat was so cheap, transom's gone. Transom is non-existent. This is mush. So that's the main thing that we need to do on this boat is throw a new transom in, and that's what we're gonna be starting with today. So before we go on the inside, my idea for replacing the transom is I've done them from the outside in the past. I don't really like it, especially because this gel is going to be really hard to match. It is the same as doing it from the inside, structurally wise. It's just a little more difficult because around the sides here, you have to leave a lip and you have to fit the wood inside of that, and then you have to do it in multiple pieces. It's kind of a pain. My idea, and what I kind of mapped out is I'm going to be making a cut along the splash well all the way through the top cap, and I'm gonna pop the top cap out, lay the transom in from the inside, get it all glassed and structural, and then put the top cap back in and glass the seam where I cut and make it all look factory. So let's hop up in the boat and give you guys a tour. Starting in the back of the boat, we got the transom and the splash well. You have this step, which is where batteries were mounted, but I think I'm gonna change that. Looking at the back deck, we have storage over here. It looks like a live well, but it's not. And then we have more storage over here. I've already done some work. This has teak handrails going all the way up. So it's full teak there, teak on the inside, kind of making a wall for your stuff to be in. All the teak is sitting down here. It is in awful condition. But what I'm planning on doing with the teak is fully sanding it, fully restoring it. I'm gonna do epoxy first layer, and then after that, I'm gonna varnish it or clear coat it, do the clear epoxy on it. I'm gonna make it look like glass. I will be keeping those accents on the side, but some of the internal stuff I'm gonna be replacing. I'm gonna be making molds for this, for the hatches and stuff, so it'll all be fresh gel and everything's gonna be buffed out super nice. But the main thing I'm gonna be building on this boat, which I think should be a fun project, is you can see there's no T-top on the boat. I'm gonna build a T-top out of stainless tubing, and then I'm gonna do a fiberglass top on it. I'm not doing the canvas. I like the way the fiberglass ones look. If you guys look up a Valhalla, like a Valhalla center console, they have the black T-tops. I actually saw one at the St. Petersburg boat show, but that's kind of what I'm gonna be going after. It'll be 4 feet wide, which is, this console is 40.5 inches wide. So it'll be wider than the console just a little bit, and it'll be 7 feet long. It's gonna be more towards the rear of the boat. So you'll have some protection in the front, which we'll get to that in a second. But the main thing is gonna be in the rear. This boat came with the VHF, the 6-foot whip. So the whip's gonna be up there. It's gonna have some, the rocket launcher rod tubes and stuff like that. Let's get into the console. So we've already got all of our steering components, and the most important thing was the binnacle helm for this boat. So this boat came rigged, well, it had an Evinrude 225 on it. If you guys can see over there, I have a 200 horse Evinrude. So all the control cables and steering will work with it, so that's great. We got some gauges in here. I wanna make this boat how I want it, so I will be changing up this console, but I don't really know what I'm gonna do yet. Something I've already done is I pulled these 2 seats out. It had bucket seats. I'm gonna be converting it to a leaning post. It's gonna be pretty much, you can see those lines there. That'll be where the leaning post is with some storage from the back. I'm gonna be making a mold for that and laying the glass in there. But if you can imagine, you'll have T-top over top. I'll probably have the VHF up above, which is down there, and the mount for the antenna will be up there. So it'll be cool. You'll be fully under shade in here. I wish this was wider, but let's keep on moving up. We got storage down there. The floor I need to do something with. I kind of want to do soft track, which I can kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. The stuff that they put on the boats, the foam, it's not really foam, but I might be doing that. I want to get rid of the green. I really don't like it, but coming up to the front of the console is very bland. What I might do is build a kind of seat here make some upholstery for it, but have storage beneath it to get a little more. Turning around, following the bow up, we got a lot of freeboard here, a lot of stuff to work with. With this handrail removed, this would be a nice casting deck. I am in Wisconsin. I will be using this for salmon, but I do a lot of bass fishing, and I'm probably going to be doing that on this boat. But what I want to do is I'm going to mold a little stop here, all the way up, all the way down, and I'm going to make a mold and build an insert piece here out of fiberglass. So that piece will sit in and give you a full deck in here with storage down below, but it's also going to be removable in case we're going out for a booze cruise or something. Yeah, we're coming up to the bow. We got our anchor storage in here and more storage in there. Did come with a very nice anchor. And then up at the bow here, give you guys a good view of the back of the boat. It is a pretty big boat. It's really nice. It's got a decently wide beam, but with the length and weight of it, it's gonna be super nice in waves. There's a million things that I wanna do with this boat, but the first thing I need to do is the transom so I can get the engine mounted just so this thing can be put on the water. So I can use it both for if I need to go to someone's dock and do dockside service, I'll do that, or I can just use it for going out and having fun. But the number one thing I need to get done is the transom, and then we'll do all the extra stuff. I'm gonna be working on the teak simultaneously. There's gonna be a lot of videos on this, so if you guys are wanting to see that, see this thing turn into basically a brand new center console is what I'm going after, make sure to subscribe. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get set up, get some tools. I'm gonna mark out with tape what I'm gonna do in the transom here, and essentially I'm gonna be making a cut straight down all the way down the splash well. I'm gonna hook up straps to these cleats, undo the rub rail, and I'm gonna try and pull the top cap out in one piece. I'd like to maintain the one piece, and if there's any repairs that I need to make, I can do it on the ground underneath, and I'm gonna get access to the full transom so I can start throwing that in, which will be nice. I'm gonna start getting the rub rail off. I'll set you guys up on time lapse, and while I do that, if you guys want some bush fishing merch or ST Marine merch, first link, second link down in the description. See all my merch, buy some, it supports me, helps me, and makes stuff like this possible. So I'd really appreciate that. But let's get into it. Okay, so with those screws out, now you'll be able to see, to visualize what I'm talking about with a top cap. So if you don't know, the way these boats are constructed, pretty much all boats, there's a hull piece and then there's an insert or top cap. Sometimes there's three pieces, but basically the hull is just the bottom of the boat. It gives you the structure of it, gives you the outside. The insert, this is all an insert. So everything you see on the inside is just dropped in on the base hull and mounted to the hull. So that way they have a mold for all the seats, all the console, whatever, everything that they need to just get dropped in. And by taking the rub rail off, you guys can see the seam coming down here is where the two are glued together. So that goes all the way down. So this is base hull and this is top cap with all the inserts. Now what I'm gonna be doing is cutting right about here. I'm gonna cut through the cap all the way down and through the boat to the other side. And I'm gonna try and lift this out. And by doing that, you'll see here's the seam coming down all the way down to here. I'm gonna try and remove all of this inner skin and all that shit so I can get access to all this bad wood. And I'll dig it all out from the inside and lay it up from the inside and lay all my glass in, and then the top cap will go back on. This transom's pretty rough. I will be doing the gel on it, but this way it's not all brand new and I don't have to worry about keeping it straight. This gives me my template, my structure for everything. Alrighty, so I got this tape laid in here. This should make a little more sense. I'll be cutting on the inside of the tape line all the way across and try and pop this out. I would like to cut it back here, but I think that there's a layer below that I don't have access to cut. So I'm going to be cutting it here on the inside of the compartments and hopefully hooking up the forklift to these two cleats and lifting it out. I know it's glued, I know it's going to be a pain, but I think it's possible. Alrighty, let's talk tools before I start cutting. Number one thing is going to be a die grinder. 90-degree works. I like the straight ones for cutting along the tape. Air powered with a little cutoff wheel on it. It's for metal, but it cuts through this pretty good. The other thing, there's going to be some deep spots. I'm using a Sawzall with a wood blade. In my experience, this has cut it pretty well. I'm going to use it kind of for cutting through the top cap, and if I find that it's stuck, I might just try and shove this in the hole and cut through the rest of it, being cautious, not coming anywhere near the hull. Don't want that, or the fuel tank or anything, but back here I think we should be okay. Fuel tank's gonna be under the console. So yeah, kind of nervous. You know what they say, there's only one way to learn stuff, just do it. Alrighty, so you guys saw me cutting and you saw the cap kind of coming out. You didn't see the struggle in between. It was a solid 2.5 hours of trying to get that top cap to pop. Everything was cut properly. I cut through enough, but the issue was that the foam had actually adhered to both sides of it. So it really didn't want to pull off, but let's take a look at what we got. So you can see there's my tape line. That's where my cut went, all the way down and around up to the other end. And here's the inside of the transom. So it's obviously waterlogged. All of this wood needs to get replaced. I'm glad I pulled it from the inside because getting all the way up here in one piece is a pain in the ass, but there's a 3-inch transom, so there's gonna be a couple sheets of wood in there and then the fiberglass. But with all this access, all this down here is foam, which I don't really understand because below that, that's where the drain hole is. I don't know how they envision this working out. There's a separate channel under there, but I'm gonna have to cut all this foam out, all that, and then cut off the top cap and stuff and lay my wood in. Over here, here's a better view of what I pulled out. So this would be where the transom is. You can see all that is just rotted, even into the sides. Looking at this, here's the other side, what would be port side on the boat. And that's half our compartment and the step. Best thing I found was putting the bolts back in this cleat and then pulling from the cleats, which was kind of my center point, and a lot of pressure. So that's about all I'm gonna do today. I am beat. That really took it out of me. In the next video, you guys are gonna see me digging out this transom and then hopefully getting a template made and laying some new glass and wood in here. I'm not gonna go with the Kusa board. I'm not doing a composite. I'm gonna be doing marine grade plywood, but it's gonna be glassed on both sides and the edges. So it'll be sealed up completely. Shouldn't have an issue again. I need to make it strong enough because for now, it's gonna be a single 200 on it. And in the future, I might make a bracket out of mold and then run twin 200s if I can find another identical one to that that's counter rotation. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Here's my new boat. If you guys want to see what we get up to in the future, make sure to subscribe. There's going to be a lot of videos on this, and getting on the water with this is going to be pretty fun. We're going to do a lot of stuff. So that's about it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.